Good morning. My name is Marla Knoll with Per Her Perspective, and today I'm interviewing Hulya Kurt. Hulya is a new chapter chair for WPO, Women's Presidents Organization in Geneva. And she's overcome so many barriers in Switzerland. Hulya is originally from Turkey and grew up in Germany, so she's got a lot of travel experience. She went back to Turkey, then went to a multinational company, Routers, as an admin, and Julia wanted to learn. She asked for help and raised her hand to say, I want to do this, I want to do that. And being curious and open minded and okay with mistakes, which is such a key factor in growth, grew to the headquarters in Geneva. Um, and so as Julia was doing this, her husband supported her throughout all of this growth. She created Innkick in 2020. Um, and her husband passed away in that year. And I'm so sorry for that. In mid 2023, Julia started facilitating workshops. And she also does one-to-one professional coaching and works in international trade. So she has many areas of expertise. Julia wrote a book as well. We're going to talk about that in a minute, and participates in Women in International Trade. She's president of Women in International Trade, which is so crucial. And one of the key factors, I think, in WPO, Women's Presidents Organization, because a lot of these members in various parts of the world are able to connect because of WPO. So, Julia, one thing I think is important to learn about you is, so what was it that motivated you to start your business?
Well, it was basically, and thanks so much for this wonderful introduction, Marla. I really appreciate that. Starting my business, look, I was made redundant and I see and notice, observe so many people, professionals who are displaced at the moment. Once I was made redundant, for me, there was no question at all. I wanted to start my new business. I never thought or crossed my mind to go back to corporate world, to go back and be an employee. I wanted to be my own boss. And the motivation stemmed from that. Even in those days when I was working, people came to me for advice, for suggestions. How shall I present? I've got a team issue. Oh my God, my employee is always coming late. Whatever that issue was. And therefore, I thought, you know what? You've got that capability. You've got that skill. So let's do it. So I put my company on that basis.
And that's so valuable that you have the insight to be able to help people in times of challenges. So, do you care to share about your childhood years? What is it in your childhood years that maybe helped you to be more motivated or inspired to help others?
But look, my childhood, I grew up in Germany and I'm Turkish. And as I went to primary school, I was always alone, left alone on the playground. I was discriminated, basically bullied. Where I found my safe harbor, I shall say, was the library, books, reading books. And no one read books in those times. And then there was a competition done about how to read books. And I was number one. I won the competition. So suddenly I gained some sort of respect. And even the kids who didn't want to play with me started to play with me. So from there onwards, it was in me to get the treasure within out without discrimination, without judgment. And I think that shaped as well a bit how I think and how I approach people without judgment. And I think everyone deserves fair treatment, fair opportunities, and we only need to open the doors for them. And that's another little nudge that I got most likely from my early childhood years.
It's interesting that you say that about reading books, because I'm an avid reader, and that's how we grew up, very much reading. And one thing that I have heard about reading is that reading helps you gain empathy.
Mhm.
Because you've learned about so many characters, you've read about so many characters. How do you think that has affected your ability to have empathy for other people?
I'm sure hugely, hugely, because what you're reading about is also not always the love stories or success stories or novels and
Right.
sci-fi. What I'm interested in was always a bit of biography, how people are overcoming challenges. And I'm also a vivid reader. I love reading. I always have a stack of books beside my bed. I need to have that kind of little stock so that I don't feel I'm out of stock. And it's very interesting because you are gaining more perspectives that meeting so many people. And every book is giving you a different insight and you learn, even if it's only one sentence or any inspiration that you got from it, it helps you to show and increase your empathy, your compassion, and how you look at the world, how
Yeah.
you see the world.
Yeah, definitely. It does help to gain a better and maybe more expansive perspective. And how about besides the books, which are great mentors and great ways of learning, was there a mentor in your life? Was there somebody that really helped you to understand the world and really know your value? I mean, you're so smart.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Appreciate that. And when as I started my career, I was not so smart. I was very naive, and you know how it is. You start to learn things, and that was in the 1980s, and we didn't have internet and nothing. We had fax, telex, typewriters, and my first mentor, I still see her. She got older, of course. She was the one who said, "You've got more capabilities. You shall not stay here. I will apply for you." And she sent on my behalf CVs. And guess what? I didn't want to leave that company. Although it was little tiny, it was on a hill construction site, really not good connected. She was under the strong belief, no, you don't belong here. You belong in a good, wonderful, big multinational company.
Yeah. Good for
Because of
her.
her, I believed in myself. Because of her, I
Yeah.
started to also apply. And I moved over to Camel Tours, to a travel agent. And from there onwards, I moved to Thomson Reuters.
Yeah. That's a great what was her name?
Nejla.
Najla. Thank you, Najla. And I want to point out that anybody that mentors a young person makes so much of a difference in their lives. I don't think that people sometimes realize the significance of bringing a young person up and giving them advice. Now, I'm just curious, do you have any siblings?
Yes, I have. I've got one brother. He's 4 years younger than me.
Okay. Are you still in contact with him?
Of course, we are very close. We always call each other. If there is any struggles in terms of family, we always support each other. You know how it is when you get elderly parents,
Mhm.
aging parents, how we can navigate those around those. Because me, I'm living in Switzerland. My mom is in Turkey, Istanbul, and my brother, he's a travel, he's a guide. So that's why he is never at home. So we had to find ways. But other than that, we also share lots of laughter, lots of fun. So it's really good to have a brother. But having these ties is not easy either.
Right.
On both sides, sometimes you need to compromise.
Right.
You need to make the time to have that conversation. And when you're far apart, that's not always obvious.
Very true. Very true. It's so wonderful to be so multinational and to have experience in traveling, which I love and getting more of. When you started your business, what are one or two things that made a big impact on getting started and the growth of your company?
While getting started is always the most difficult part
It's
because
very
you're
hard.
never sure. You're never sure,
Right.
right? How it goes, how to place yourself, how to position yourself. So
Yes.
I was really not sure what I was doing. It
Mhm.
was completely a mess. The messy middle, I call it. You know, you don't know. You know you want to do something. You want to have an impact on people. But how to position myself? And then people say you need to niche out yourself. The most difficult part on my side, I'm diverse. And some people say I'm wild. Yes, I am wild because I'm intellectually curious. So therefore, the impact was really on creating the business. Really, I wanted to have my own and I wanted to have an impact on my own terms,
Yeah.
working on my own terms, and really creating these programs that I love creating because I love creativity that are mine. For example, like my career workshop or the framework that I use during my coaching, all created for myself, ebooks, blogs, love that. And I think the, the creativity, using that creativity, but not alone because I always have people with me. So you need to delegate tasks. You cannot do everything on,
Yes,
but also having that freedom of you work 24/7 or not, because as an entrepreneur, you know how it is.
I
Sometimes you
do.
need a lot.
Yes, very
Still,
true.
it does not look or feel like it's work because I love what I'm doing. It's my passion.
And you have had experience teaching at a university, I believe. I I had the experience of teaching at Chapman, which is a small local university here in California. Tell me a little bit about your university experience.
Absolutely, and still continues, dear
Okay,
Marla. I'm
good.
still teaching. It's a business school, private business school here in Geneva, Swiss School of Business and Management, and absolutely love it. Why? Because I see teaching like mentoring our emerging professionals. They're all young. They have no clue about the world outside, the
Yes,
minefield in the corporate world. And that gives me another opportunity annual where I can have an impact on a young person who is going to start in 2 or 3 years.
right, right.
That's
And
why.
the thing that I think is adds values. You've had experience in business. I know as I have been teaching, I share stories and they're pretty good stories. How about you?
Absolutely, I combine them. And honestly, if you think about it, ChatGPT gives you all the answers that you need. What it does not have is all the business cases and the
Mhm.
experiences and
Right.
the stories we lived. When I tell the students, I had to fire many people over the phone, even people, what? How did you do that? This is a difficult conversation.
Uh-huh.
And this is what we did. We talked to each other. And then I let them as well do stuff which is really primitive, but there's suddenly like with the pen at a flip chart. What do we need to do, Professor? You need to write down. Really? Yeah. No PC, no laptop. You get up and talk to each other.
That's great. That's so funny. Is there anything you wish you'd done sooner?
Actually, creating my company sooner, that would have been nice.
Yeah. Yeah. I hear you. I think I feel the same way. It's like, yeah, this is fun, actually. Do you have any disciplines that you wish to share about good business disciplines? What do you think helped you the most?
Well, consistency is key to success. This is what I'm always saying. That's
Mhm.
one of my mottos. I love creating mottos as well. Why? Because sometimes when you start off, no one knows you. You need to create credibility. You need to create visibility. So posting was the most difficult part on my side. Posting on Instagram, posting on LinkedIn, creating that marketing material. What am I going to talk about? Who's going to be interested in my story, etc. Now, the more I did, the more I got confident because people started to gain that trust in my business, in my coaching business, in that work that I'm doing, what workshop facilitation, whatever. And the discipline that I still continue is firstly, consistency, discipline, repeat, repeat, repeat. Practice makes the master. Even if you feel you master everything. Enough. Never trust that. And be
It,
curious. Be curious. Be like a child. Ask questions.
it's funny that you mentioned consistency and discipline because as I am working with many clients, this is one thing I am preaching and pushing for. It's so difficult. And I know because I sat in that chair. When
Yeah,
you've run a business or run a major part of a business, you know how hard it is. There is the whirlwind of business, but I could never emphasize enough the systems. Like you said, you create systems
yeah,
and discipline and consistency with those systems. It's magic,
yeah.
but you don't know until you put it in place, right?
Correct.
So, how do you have a life balance? Because I know as a business owner, it's hard because I work many weekends. So, How does that work for you?
What I believe in is work-life integration, not a balance anymore, because everything is converging. Sometimes priorities shift.
Correct.
Sometimes that day is more personal than the business, or vice versa. And I've got a ritual every morning. I'm not looking at my phone at all. I wake up always at the same time, around 6 a.m. I'm up. I create my own fusion waters. I've got my oil pulling. I do my meditation. If you will, being Muslim, I'm read from the Quran. Then I'm grounded. I still don't check my phone. Then I do a bit of exercise in front of the TV. I don't need to go to the gym necessarily, although I've got a gym subscription as well, but I need to move in the morning. 20 minutes is enough. And then I sit down and check out. So I need to have a grounding time in between. When I write a lot, I just stop and say, I need to move. Either if it's in the apartment or just putting on the music and moving and dancing in the living room. This is what I'm doing as well to get that energy back and just calm down, be grounded, and then restart again. So everything is converging actually. I've got enough time as well for my friends. I love cooking. I love to invite them as well. I love reading, of course, in the evening. That's another ritual. I always read, whether if it's only one page, it does not matter. It is winding down time. And I don't look at social media at all in the evening either.
Yeah, that's good. You mentioned something about writing. Tell me about that.
Well, I love, you know what? Actually, I didn't like writing. I hated writing. And then suddenly you become, the entrepreneur. And then I thought, you know what? I want to write about my coaching framework and I want to help more professionals. So the first book to write was not easy. It was really difficult
Mhm.
because I didn't know what to write, where to start, which paragraphs, how many words, etc. But then I discovered the magic of writing, how you can share your knowledge, your expertise in terms of blogs. You don't need to even create a book. You know, for example, blogs are good, newsletters are great. What do you think? What is moving you? Anything is. And at the moment, honestly, I must say, I started my third book.
Are you? Tell me the names of your books that you've written so far.
So break free from your hamster wheel.
Very good.
That's, yeah. And then the second is co-authored with one of my peers, The Resilient Professional.
Okay.
And the third book that I'm in writing has no title at the moment. I did not decide, but it has got nothing to do with the professional aspect, is absolutely personal.
Very nice. Well, congratulations on the 2 books because there are many people out there that have never written a book and always are aspiring to, and it's hard. I have written and published one, and it took 10 years in the making, and I'm still working on a fiction, which may never happen. But,
Oh,
it's
fictions.
creating a world that's kind of fun. Are there any regrets that you've had in either running your own business or formerly working in another international business? Do you have any regrets during those times?
Well, regrets, I guess I've got a different way or perspective towards life. Whatever the decision was that time was the right decision.
Mhm.
Regret wise, I don't look back. I only look forward. The only thing that I can say is I regretted not to raise my hand earlier on in my professional life because I considered or observed that whoever raises their hand first becomes or gets that project. So I started to mirror that afterwards. If I would have started earlier, it would have been better, most likely. It is what it is. We gain with experience. And sometimes, when you're business owner, sometimes you regret and think, should I have run for corporate? It's so difficult to get clients or business. Crosses your mind and you're like, why am I doing this? And then I come back again to my purpose and my aim and my vision and mission. I say, no, no, you stay where you are. You're good. Continue.
And one thing you said and was in your bio is you're not afraid of making mistakes. And honestly, so many are. Like that stops them. They're afraid. But mistakes is how we learn, right?
Absolutely. Hey, try fast, fail fast, learn fast. This is what I always say. You know what? In business,
Wait, say that again. Say that again. I love it.
try fast, fail fast, learn fast.
Yeah. Yeah. Because we're going to fail at some things. And if we don't push ourselves and make mistakes and have some failures, we're not going to learn as much.
Absolutely, because everything is what did I learn from this? Not to
Yeah.
make this or not to send this email out in that fashion. Or I'm not going to do business with that person anymore. Done. Whatever that might be. And sometimes you lose money. Sometimes you lose your temper. Sometimes it's unresting. Sometimes it's a toxic relationship that you're in, this partnership, and you just want to break free. So therefore, everything has got a purpose in our life to learn from for us and gain experience.
Yes. And now I know you had employees. How would they say they saw you as a boss?
Well, I was not a bad boss as far as I could consider. People love to work with me. I'm honest, I'm fair, I'm direct as well. And I'm very transparent. If anything happens, I let my people know firsthand
Yeah.
what they can expect and what they cannot expect. And
Yeah.
if anything goes astray or I needed to lay off people, I let them know in advance. What is that? Like, hey, you know us, Carlos, something comes across our way, not good. You have heard all the news in terms of Thomson Reuters. Be prepared. Because I
Yeah.
know that I need to lay off, that I need to lay him off.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's
Bad news. It's bad news.
it's
Hated that. So,
yeah. And that leads me to my next question because I know laying people off is so hard. What would you say the hardest experience you had are having in running a business? What's the most difficult?
running your business to be always motivating yourself every day, day in and day out. You're the
Mhm.
only major motivator for yourself, and no one else will do that for you. That's really hard. That's not always easy. As you said, laying off people, obviously we don't want that. We hate that. That's really bad news. I don't like it. But also getting out of a toxic partnership that I had before. Just get out. And that's difficult to take that decision because you invested a lot in it. You still believe in it. No,
Yeah.
it does not work.
Yeah. Yeah. And now you are on this mission with WPO, Women's Presidents Organization. And Women's Presidents Organization it's an international organization, but we have not had a chapter in Geneva before. So tell me about that.
Firstly, I was approached already about 1 year ago to head and chair Geneva. And I think there's lots of potential here in terms of founders, CEOs who are eligible to become members,
Mhm.
especially here in Switzerland. And it's not easy to create that network here because
Right.
Switzerland is very reserved. So we need to have in mind as well, when we do business, the cultural aspect. What are the traditions? How people react and how people's attitude is. And here, everything is very modest. They don't trust you immediately. I would say it's like a coconut. It's really a hard shell. But once you crack it, the juice is really nice and delicious. So I'm in the middle of cracking it. Not so easy. We did already few meetups. The next one is on the 9th of February where I'm planning a breakfast. Again, hoping that I'm going to have more members. At the moment in the pipeline, we've got two, but I would love to have more because I love facilitating these mastermind groups, closed circles where everyone can be safe, feel safe, and open up.
And in running a business, I was in two peer groups. So WPO was one of them. And one of the things that I think is really valuable about WPO is the peer review process. And that is processing issues with each other in a safe place. Say I have a difficult employee, or I have a legal challenge, or I have a marketing challenge. And what happens in the peer review process is the person identifies what the issue is. Then everybody in the room gets to ask a question or two, depending upon how much time you have. And then we go around the room and we offer our experience.
Yeah.
And it's not advice because we learn as a chapter chair a long time ago, I learned advice is putting another person below you. So we're not offering advice. What we're doing is sharing this is what happened to me, or this is what I did, and it worked or it didn't work. And so that is the issue processing. That's a peer view process for WPO. And it's really incredibly effective. And what happens to all the people in the room, it may not be their issue now, but it might be their issue in the future. So from listening to the issue processing, they learn when they hit that experience what to do or what not to do. So I think
Absolutely
that's
agree. Absolutely. And Marla, it's so powerful. I did that once, and everyone around the table said, "What a nice format.
yeah.
We never had that before." And they enjoyed the process. So, therefore, it's really valuable how we are conducting these facilitations around the table.
Yeah, and what I have heard again and again and again, some people think as they're going into WPO that it's a networking group. It
Yeah.
is not a networking group. It is a peer learning. It's a mastermind group. You don't ever want to be the smartest person in the room, which
Yeah.
frequently when you're running a business, you're not necessarily the smartest person in the room, but you might be the most motivated or bravest or anything along those lines. So being in the room with other incredibly smart business people is a great thing to do. One of the things that I got from WPO and the other group that I was in was resources.
You see.
But who's the attorney that you're using? Who's the business coach you're using? I have an insurance guy who's not a broker, but he looked at my insurance policies and I paid him a monthly fee. Right off the bat, he saved me $25,000.
Oh
And this
my
is
God.
a resource that I got from one of the other people in my group.
Yeah.
So that's a huge value. And so that process is so valuable. And I am so excited for you in Geneva that you're there, you're starting it, and there's so much opportunity for women in Geneva who are business owners. Tell us, how do you get to be eligible for WPO?
Well, you need to be in services having an annual turnover of 1 million Swiss francs, and for products 2 million. I've got already some eligible people. Of course, you reach out to these people and invite them to your gatherings. And 2 or 3 are very much interested to be part of this peer review group. It's a mastermind group, as you say, and it's
Yeah.
very valuable.
Yeah.
So I'm continuing on outreaching, continuing on organizing our events, and because I strongly believe in that. Because
Yeah.
we feel lonely on top. We
It's
always
very lonely.
yes, and you need to always show your strong side. I don't want to be strong all the time. Just leave me. Just leave me to my own emotions as well. And this peer review group is open. We don't judge.
Yeah.
We don't even accuse or say, as you said, advise. We only share our own. We ask open questions, and that opens different perspectives because we as business owners do have our blind spots. It's our baby.
Yeah.
And then we are like, yeah, yeah, protecting it. But there are other things out that you can find solutions for. And this is what's so amazing. It's creative, amazing, and opens your eyes.
And this is the value in you, in what you do. As a business owner, you're so in it, you're working in the business. It's very difficult to work on the business. But such an important part of growing the business is to work on as well as in. So
Yeah.
you as a business coach and as a chapter chair are helping business owners work on their business versus in the business. And so important. One of the things that has helped WPO grow, because we're such a well-kept secret, Women's Presidents Organization, we have Flow Communications, which is posting so much on LinkedIn. That really helps in every part of the world, right? I am assuming you use LinkedIn quite a bit. Are
Oh,
there
yes.
other ways to reach out to business owners?
Absolutely. Instagram,
Okay.
that's really important. But other than that, direct contact is always the best.
Yeah.
So referrals, word of mouth is more impactful than anything else because we don't know who's going to see on social media our posts. We have no clue. It's like a lottery. Sometimes it drops on the feed, sometimes it doesn't. So it's better that we reach out personally. Therefore, I created a database of people, of women, business owners, leaders, founders, CEOs who are eligible in Switzerland, and then going to reach out to them one by one because that creates more personal touch and people are more leaning towards attending and let me try way of attitude.
Yeah. It really needs you. If anybody sees and experiences this business session with other very smart people, I think they see the value in it right away. What is it that drives you who above all else? What floats your boat? What gets you going? I now your morning methodology I think is great, but what else really gets you going?
I love life. I'm passionate to live life to the fullest because I know how short it can be and we have no idea what or if we are going to live the next second. So every second is really precious. Whereas you have goals because now we are new year, everyone's got their resolutions, as you know. Goals are not enough. What drives you is what excites you. And that's what it is. When I wake up in the morning, day excites me. The meeting that I'm going to have excites me. I find excitement in everything because I take it as at home. I love it. I love life. Whether that could be a tedious work like sitting down and doing admin work, it needs to be done. Yeah, I'm not overthinking. I'm not procrastinating because this is my business, for example. And I love it. I think that's the main motivator for me, being passionate for life.
Yeah. And passionate about business. I hear that through everything you say. You study business, you're passionate about it. And tell me a little bit more about your husband because your husband supported you a lot. We talked about that before when you were moving and being in other parts of the world. He supported that move. Tell me a little bit about your husband.
He was a great guy, honest, full commitment, responsibility, trustworthy, and he would support me about anything, anywhere. He had this ethics of, yes, what's good for the family? That was the first question because this came when he got retired in Istanbul and he wanted to open his own business. But in the meantime, I got this offer from Geneva. So we sat down and said, okay, so this is the offer. The first question he asked, would that be good for your career? I said, yes. Would that be good for our son? Of course. He will be learning English. He will be going to the international school and everything. And then he asked, what is going to happen when it doesn't work out? We go back. And this is how he said, I support you. And he was at home. Me, I was working outside. And multinational, what does this mean? Lots of responsibilities. I was around the world. My son was little. So he was cooking, taking care of the son, cleaning, shopping, did it all. He was my roommate. Akın. Yeah. And
Nice.
that means in Turkish, we always have a meaning behind each name. Akın means actually flow. So he went with the flow of life.
That's so
And
magical.
it is. And my name is Hulya. Hulya means dream. If we go back to our surname, Kurt, some people say it's German. Yes, but it's also Turkish, and that means wolf. So I describe myself the dream with the strength of a wolf.
I love it. Love it. You're wonderful. So tell me about what you have besides your book and the WPO chapter. What does the future look like for Hulya? What are you doing in the next year, 5 years? What is that?
Well, I've got always a dream, and the dream is the following. Obviously, first, WPO to increase the members to fully charter because I would love to have 10 members. That's my minimum. For minimum I should have them by May. That's what I'm thriving for.
Okay.
Me expanding my business even more so. So where the business, which is real capacity building, if you will, on each aspect of life and professionalism, includes trade delegations, events organizations, retreats, coaching, business coaching, public speaking, the whole shebang, then I can trust that. And me, I'm traveling around the world, being on stage, taking the mic, and motivating, giving my energy to all the people, faith, hope, perspective in front of a big audience.
And energy you have. Also, the women in international business. How can you help international businesses? How can you help a business owner with international business?
So because I'm an organization, Women International Trade, since more than 10 years in different capacities. The last position was the presidency on a global level. I handed over the reins to another person, but I'm still involved. How do we do this? People want to do, or women do want to do business elsewhere. Meaning, for example, our Kenyan women, and this is the latest trade delegation I'm going to do that I'm working on. Kenyan women producers, fresh fruits and vegetables, they want to export. So how can you export? What are the tariffs? What are the labeling you need to have? What partners are important for you? How to reach out to them? How to have in mind as well the cultural differences? Communication. If you're communicating with Germany, it needs to be direct. But if you are communicating with Middle East, oh my, you need to have a different angle. If you're communicating with Turkey, we need to have our Turkish coffee first and need to chat about family. And then we can move on. So every country has a way of business etiquette which is not taught and seen and experienced unless you know the different multi nuances.
And one of the things that you said that I think is really important is that partnership. Sometimes going into another country requires a partnership. And it sounds like through this entity, through this organization, you're creating the connection with those partnerships where then you can learn whether or not you can trust that other group or partner or individual, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's what it is. Another motto that I have is the new competition is collaboration. Though obviously we need to choose wisely. And if you have that gut feeling in the beginning already that it's not going to work, leave it.
Yeah.
Gut feeling is our second brain. But if you have got that feeling and perspective to say, this might work, and this is valuable, why not? I partner up with different business industries as well. And the latest is about AI, artificial intelligence, with a partner who's amazing, with whom I met during a conference. Again, go out, be out there, go to conferences, events, networks, different industries. Don't say, oh, that's not my industry. Hey, you might need someone where you open something else. Why not? Each opportunity is valuable.
And you said one thing that I think is really important to emphasize and that's intuition.
Yes.
Because sometimes when we get those spidey senses and we think something might not be right, we're usually right about that. And I just had this conversation yesterday with a business owner who decided not to go through with purchasing another business and it was that too many red flags and that intuition that, okay, this is a bad idea.
Absolutely agree. Always trust that inner voice.
Yeah.
We can be rational, obviously, but if you really have these red flags coming up like ding, ding, ding in front of your eyes, consider them, monitor them, list them down, value them, weigh them out. How important is that for you? Is it against your values? Is it against your mission or what you believe in?
Yeah.
And if you're going into that partnership, what will you need to compromise on? And are you willing to compromise on that?
Yeah, very good. So important. And now for you, you're writing another book. And tell me about the class. Are you teaching a class right now, or do you have one coming up?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm teaching leadership and development, business principles, and entrepreneurship. Exams are on about in 2 weeks' time, and
Okay.
then I will teach a different one.
Okay. Good. 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 So remind me of the name of the university that you're teaching at so people can look this up.
Thank you. It's Swiss School of Business and Management. It's in Geneva. It's a private business school, and we are very multi-diverse. They're coming from all over the place, different ages, backgrounds. We've got MBA programs as well, and tailor-made certificates and disciplines.
Good. And I'm going to take this opportunity to say that I'm teaching a class for UCI, and it is the extension program, and it's on business finance. So, business owners who are not really confident in their financial statements and how they use money to grow their business. We're all still in the world of teaching, which I think is so valuable. And yeah, if people are interested in growing, business owners included, participate in a peer group, a mastermind group like WPO, Women's Presidents Organization, and take classes because we're always learning, and then read business books. Tell me, what business book are you reading, or what's your favorite business book?
There are many because I've got a whole library behind me. I love the latest one that I finished was is from Mel Robbins, Let Go. I love that theory. But I love as well to the Atomic Habits.
Yes.
Loved it to bits.
Yes,
Absolutely amazing book.
it is.
Then also Arthur Brooks about finding your strength.
Okay.
Love that. A very old book about self-esteem. I forgot the author. It's all on the bookshelf. And I have got now the latest beside me, which is from Dr. Vanessa van Edkerts. It's about the cues of public speaking. And she's amazing, amazing. I watched some podcasts about it. What a brilliant mind. And you can learn so much. So really, as you said, we are lifelong students. Always watch something which makes sense and don't scroll only on Instagram, on social media. Okay, we can do this for a while, maybe 15 minutes. That's it. I'm done. But watch something that creates growth, creates inspiration, creates maybe question marks as well. You can be controversial. That's fine. At least it opens up your brain and your neuroscience. And what I'm doing at the moment, another module, is the neuroscience coach. So I'm learning as we speak, online course taken. Hopefully I'm going to finish that as well soon.
Good. You are a constant learner. I listen to a lot of, besides reading books, I listen to a lot of audio books as I'm driving because where I live, there's a lot of driving. So that's an opportunity to learn while you're on the road. There's never enough learning, right?
Absolutely. And you nicely combine everything. And that's important. Maximize your time.
Yeah.
Think what you can do in between commuting, for example, and you
Uh-huh.
just do this great. I mean, here in Geneva, we use public transport a lot, and it's a little city as well. Therefore, but still during that commute, I listen even 10 minutes about something. And don't think that 10 minutes doesn't bring you anything. It does bring you a lot.
Does. It does.
It does. Do only 10 push-ups, for example, every day. It will have an impact. It doesn't need this bulk, audacious, hairy goal somewhere where it's frightening even to start and think about it.
And this is something that I tell my business owners that I work with all the time. Sometimes the little improvements have more stick to itiveness than the big, hairy, audacious goals. So the little things sometimes make a bigger difference and a bigger impression. So yeah, that's great. Well, Julia, what question have I not asked you yet?
I think you asked me about everything other than what are my hobbies.
What are your hobbies?
I love dancing. Yeah, so you can put me on the dance floor. I can close the club. I have no problems with that. I really love dancing, moving, obviously. But here we are in Geneva. So I love skiing. I love hiking. I do also sports because I love to challenge myself, especially in our age. We need to build muscles. And therefore, I do lots of strength training. And as you say, I love traveling all around the world, having people over for dinner. I cook Turkish dinner. I love my Turkish cuisine. And that's what I like as hobbies.
Nice. Great. I look forward to knowing more about your Turkish cooking, but tell me a little Geneva. What's your favorite restaurant in Geneva?
Favorite restaurant? Edelweiss restaurant. It's really typical Swiss with a show as well. So you really feel you're on the Alps. And we know for a fact that the traditional dish is melted cheese, which we call fondue, to dip in with a big, long, and thin fork, a piece of bread, and get the whole cheese up there and put it in your mouth.
That sounds wonderful. That's wonderful. Well, Julia, thank you so much for being on Per Her Perspective. I really appreciate that. I look forward to hearing more about the WPO group, the Women's Presidents Organization. We're getting started, and it is such an inspiration to women business owners to grow the business, to learn more about business. Occasionally, for my group, I have speakers who talk about various topics. And so we learn from outside sources besides learning from each other. So I look forward to hearing more about that. And thank you so much. Hulya Kurt.
Thank you so much, Marla. I appreciate that opportunity.